yoga strap. There are lots of ways you can emulate a bolster. So let's go ahead and start at the top of the mat and make sure your blocks are up there. We're going to go for a few sun salutation A and B, and then we'll move into C since quads are in the menu. You want to get those a little bit more stretched out. So take the arms up on the inhale, interlace the fingers, squeeze the head with the arms, lift up nice and tall, stretch over to your right hand side. Really fantastic posture, super simple, that gets a lot of things moving. Your lymphatic system for one. Let your head rest on your right arm. Breathe deeply, breathe into your back and breathe into your sides. Make sure your rib cage feels like it's expanding in all directions. All right, bend the knees a little bit. Cross that left leg behind the right leg and keep reaching to the right. And come on up through the center and exhale to the other side. Again, let your head rest on your left arm. And bend your knees a little bit and cross that right leg behind your left leg. And then come back up on the inhale and release the arms. Do a couple big shoulder rolls. All right, and let's go for sun salutation A. Take the arms up on the inhale. Exhale, relax and fold. Do this a few more times. Just stretch forward on the inhale, lengthen. Exhale, relax. Check in with those hamstrings. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, relax. Couple more of these. Squeeze your legs into the midline. In fact, we're going to use a block in a second. All right, let's grab your block. So you can go skinny and take the block up by your groin, or you can go a little bit more medium and take the block closer to your knees. And then squeeze that block again. Inhale, lengthening, exhale, relaxing. So it just depends on how loose your hamstrings are. You may want to be up higher on a block. You can even put your hands on a wall, or you might want to put your hands on your legs somewhere, but keep squeezing. Inhale, lengthening, exhale, relaxing. And you'll notice, oh, less of a hamstring stretch, more of a butt stretch, right? A little bit of both. So inhale, lengthening, exhale, relaxing. Inner thighs help your hips get engaged here. All right, remove that block, plant your hands, step back, take a moment here, reach your heels back, squeeze your legs into the midline, lift your chin, and then exhale, lower down. You can drop those knees, tops the feet, inhale. You can push into the feet and try to get the thighs off the ground, or maybe that can wait till later. And then exhale, downward dog. All right, from your down dog, walk it out a little bit. And look up at your hands. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, relax and fold. Inhale, take this heart up and your arms up. And then exhale, arms to the sides. Let's do one more of these. Take the arms up on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, plant the hands and step back. Let's do a little side plank. So you can come to your left hand or your left forearm and come over to the side. Take that right arm toward the sky. If you're feeling strong today, you may want to lift your right leg up roughly parallel for Bastasana, the full-blown posture. You might even want to take that right arm next to your ear. Just play. All right. Take the right hand back down the ground. Switch sides. Again, you can always come to the forearm. Lift your bottom hip. Maybe lift your top leg. Maybe take that left arm next to your ear. And bring it down. All right, let's lower all the way to the ground. Take a moment and lower down. Roll the shoulders onto your back and then slide your hands back a little bit more in line with your chest. And then from here, squeeze the elbows toward each other like you're squeezing a beach ball behind you. Stretch out through your legs. Press all 10 toes into the ground. That's going to give you a little bit of an internal rotation on those legs. And then lift up a little bit. So we're not trying to go up to a full posture. You want to keep pulling the front ribs in and the low belly in and lift up to a place where you can lift your hands off the ground. All right, plant the hands, roll the shoulders onto the back, push back to child's pose. Press forward actively into the mat so that your hips get a little closer to your heels. So you're getting this nice back stretch. And now notice that the whole front of your body is fine. It's relaxed. But see if you can get in a little bit more lifted and engaged as well. So you're going to pull your hands back towards you and notice how your front ribs lift in and come slightly forward towards your shoulders. All right, and then find your downward dog. Take a moment, just walk it out a little bit. Press one heel down, press the other heel down. And look up. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, relax and fold. Inhale, come all the way up to the sky. And exhale, arms to the sides. All right, big toes together, heels slightly apart. Utkatasana. Take the arms up on the inhale. Bring the hands together and then interlace the fingers and point the first finger up. Squeeze your head and sink down. So we're trying to keep those arms a little bit more behind the head, which is not hard. Well, it's not hard to do with bent arms. It's hard to do with straight arms. We're just trying to get those upper shoulders to open up a little bit. So sink down as best you can into your squat here, into your imaginary chair. Roll your eyeballs upward. Lift your chin a tiny bit. And then exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen out your spine. Exhale, plant the hands, step back. Take a moment. Inhale, exhale, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Right leg lunges forward. Take it up on the inhale. Press into the outer edge of your back foot. Zip up your belly. Pull the front hip points up a little bit. Look up toward the thumbs. Drop your shoulders a little bit. All right, take the hands down to the ground. Right leg back. Take a moment, inhale. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, down dog. Left leg lunges forward. Take it up on the inhale. Lift your front hip points. Zip up your belly. Drop your shoulders. And take the hands down. Step back. Inhale. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, child's pose. So you're going to take your knees pretty wide here. Press back so your hips come close to your heels. Now pull your hands back so the front ribs pull in and up towards your armpits a little. All right, and then find your downward dog again. Lift your armpits and roll your shoulders onto your back. All right, look up, inhale, step forward, big toes touching. Exhale, fold. And sink back into Utkatasana. Take the arms up and look up. Exhale, straighten the legs. Arms to sides. All right, let's go for a twist on this next one. Take the arms up on the inhale, sit back. And twist to your right. All right, so if that left knee's popping forward, tack your left hip back a bit. See if you can drop your hips a little more. And inhale, come on up. And exhale, twist to your left. Again, tuck your right hip back a little. And come on up on the inhale. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, step back. Take a moment. And then exhale, lower down. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, down dog. Right leg lunges forward. Come on up to warrior one. All right, let's do our little lungy warrior one. Take the hands down to the ground and slide your left foot back a little bit. And then lift your inner left ankle towards your outer left ankle. And then walk your hands off the mat to the left. And then keep walking forward so that your arms are in line with your ears. All right, come back to the center. Just a little side plank. Left hand on the ground. Walk your right foot off the mat. Take your right arm toward the sky. And then take that right hand to the back of your head. Press your head back. All right, right hand back to the ground. Take a moment. Let's lunge the left leg. Inhale, come on up. And then we're going to take this a little bit bigger. So hands down to the ground, slide your right foot back, get that left thigh a little closer to parallel. Lift your inner right ankle towards your outer right ankle. Walk your hands off the mat and then walk them as far forward as you can. All right, come back to the center, plant your right hand, walk your left foot off the mat to about 9 o'clock. Take that left arm toward the sky, and then take that left hand to the back of the head and push back. All right, left hand to the ground, push back to down dog, walk it out a little bit. All right, lift your right leg toward the sky. Lunge your right leg forward, drop your back heel, come up into warrior one. Then we're gonna go for humble warrior. So you're gonna interlace your fingers behind your back. And it can be a loose grip, and you don't have to have straight arms. Just get those shoulders rolling onto your back and down. And then shoulder comes somewhere near your right knee. So notice my arms are on my back right now. As I start stretching out the front of my shoulders, I might want to squeeze my elbows toward each other. As they start warming up, I may want to stretch my fist away from my shoulders and maybe lift the arms up a little bit. But it's really just optional. Figure out where your shoulders need to go right now. And eventually, you can go deeper. You can slide that left foot back a little bit more, bring your shoulder to the inside of your leg, bring your forehead a little closer to the ground. These are all things to experiment with. All right, take it down. Let's actually do a child's pose right now. So step back, take a moment and just notice the difference between your legs, if there is one. Push back. So the hands are going to push forward and the hips are going to come back. Now pull with your hands so your belly engages. All right, let's do the other side. So find your downward dog and lunge your left leg forward. Come on up. All right, interlace your fingers, go for the non-dominant grip. Lift your heart, and then exhale, forward bend. So shoulder somewhere near the knee, and then start squeezing those elbows toward each other and drawing the shoulders toward the hips. And you can experiment as appropriate, maybe going a little deeper, maybe sliding that right foot back a little bit more. Your choice. And hands back down. Okay, child's pose again. And then we're going to take it into Anahat Bastasana, heart Melton pose. All right, so hips over the knees. If you want to use blocks under your arms, you're absolutely welcome to. If you just want to walk those hands forward, you can do that as well. So elbows to the blocks, head hangs. You can play with the direction of the arms, or you can do this without blocks. They're both great. You just decide. And if you try to figure out what to do with your head, chin or forehead on the ground, okay, it's one of those things where your neck is going to tell you which one's best. And then maybe melt that chest a little closer to the ground. Doesn't have to touch. You're just trying to get a little bit more of an upper back bend. All right, walk it back. Flip your toes over. Find a downward dog. And look up, inhale, step forward, big toes touching. Exhale, fold. Sink into Utkatasana, take the arms up and look up. And exhale, straighten the legs, arms to sides. All right, Salutation C. Arms up on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step the left leg back. Drop the back knee, and then come on up. If it's appropriate, shift your hips a little bit more forward. All right, and then hands down, step back. Lift your left leg toward the sky. And bring that left knee up into your chest and step it forward. All right, take those arms up again, big inhale. We're going to do another little twist here. So we're going to walk off the mat. Take your hands down to the inside of your left leg. We're going to walk to the right side, walk off the right side of the mat, and then maybe bring your left forearm to a block or maybe your left forearm to the ground, but your right hand is going to stay on the ground, right arm is straight. Creating a little twist. Lift your right rib cage, drop your left rib cage, spread your back toes out. then come back down. See if you can just come down a little further. Forearms to the ground or to a block, lined up with your left leg. So my left shoulder is very close to my left leg now. And then your left leg, make sure it doesn't feel pinched, but your left leg just needs to squeeze in a tiny bit to the midline. And if you need to turn those toes out, that's okay. Just gonna hang out here, get those quads to loosen up a little bit. All right, now we're gonna do an open twist. So right hand just under the shoulder, left hand to the thigh, and look over your left shoulder. Now reach that left arm back. And then see if you can bend that back knee. All right, and then unwind and step your right leg forward. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, relax and fold. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, right leg back. Drop your back knee. All right, take the arms up. Gently shift your hips forward a little bit. Drag to the midline. And then take your hands down, step back, lift that right leg toward the sky. All right, lunge that right leg forward. Take the arms up again, big inhale. Lift your spine. Spread out your back toes. All right, hands down to the ground. Walk off the left side of your mat. Keep your left hand on the ground and bring your right forearm to the ground or to a block. You can feel that a little bit in your back and around your groin, right? So if you do sit a lot or stand a lot or walk a lot, like it's everything, right? Your low back can get a little tight, and this helps stretch out that quadratus lumborum a bit. Come back to the center and then hang out here, maybe forearms to the ground, forearms to the block. Squeeze that right leg into the midline. Make sure there's no pinching in the hip. If there is, turn your toes out a little bit. All right, now left hand to the ground. Turn those right toes out very deliberately. Bring your right hand to your thigh and look over your right shoulder. Then roll your shoulders onto your back. Then reach that right arm back. Again, the leg is optional. All right, and then release. And step your left leg forward. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, relax and fold. Grab your elbows and hang for a moment. And take the hands to the hips, squeeze the elbows toward the sky, bend the knees, big inhale, come all the way up. All right, we're gonna get into the inner thighs a little bit. So we're gonna add in a little bit of moon salutation into this, just a little. Take the arms up on the inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step your left leg back, drop your back knee. Okay, so we're gonna do a nice little twist to the right first. It's a big twist, actually. Take that left arm up and over to your right. I'm gonna change directions just so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm reaching over. And then keep that nice big stretch through the left side. You're going to use that stretch as you keep reaching over to the right, and then take that left elbow to the outside of the right leg. Now my right hand is going to grab my rib cage and pull it up and around. Just give me a little extra twist. And then bring the hands together. And then from here, I'm going to add in just a little bit more. Take that right hand to the back of the head and push it back. And then keep pressing back and bring your right hand back to your left hand. And then lift your back knee up if that seems appropriate. So your belly is on your right thigh, but it shouldn't feel like it's resting. You should be feeling like you're lifting up slightly and pressing your head back slightly. All right, and then bring your hands down to the ground and drop your back knee if it's up. Turn your toes a little bit to the left, and you're going to come into, essentially you're squatting the right leg, and my left leg is going to extend and point the left toes up toward the sky. So not everybody is super comfortable in this posture, whether it's an inner thigh stretch, hamstring stretch, or whether the hips and knees are a bit disgruntled about being this low and this bent. So you could be up higher. Don't feel like if your knees are annoyed with you, you can be up here and just turning to the left. So keep that in mind. All right, so from here, if it seems appropriate, walk your block or your hands forward more. Breathe into it, and you'll notice your inner thigh and hamstring here get a little bit more stretch as you walk forward. All right, now come through the other side. You're going to slide through. Right leg is now the straight one, and maybe balance on this side. So we're going to do this one more time. I like this one because my ankles are always very wiggly. So it always reminds me that I need to take a little bit more time with my ankle strength. All right, let's go back to the center. So you're going to come through the middle, turn toward the front, and then step back. Lift your left leg toward the sky, open up the hip and bend the knee. All right, this next one's optional. You can flip your dog into a back bend. Lift your right heel up high, turn the toes to the left, bend that right leg a little bit, bring the left leg over, and then look at your left hand. All right, flip it back over again. Lunge your left leg forward. Drop your back knee. Just get a little bit more shoulder opener. You can never get too much shoulder opener. Open up those arms. Squeeze those elbows together. Drop the shoulders down. All right, hands down to the ground and step your right leg forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, relax and fold. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, fold again. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, right leg back. Drop your back knee. All right, right arm up and over and stretch over to your left. Look up toward your right hand. And take that right arm to the outside of your left leg. Lift your belly, pull it up. Bring your hands together. Bring your left hand to the back of your head and just push it back a little bit. And then bring your hands back together again. Flip your back toes over. And breathe and maybe lift that back knee up. All right, drop your back knee. Walk over to the right a little bit. Turn your left toes to the right. And then come into your nice little lunge on one side. So from here, same thing. Walk it forward as far as you can, or as far as it feels comfortable. Drag that right heel in a little bit. And everybody looks so different in here in this posture. Some people, their hips are up higher. Some people, their heels actually come to the ground. Mine don't. All right, come through the center. Turn those left toes up toward the sky. Drag your left heel in. See if you can drop your right heel and then balance. Whoa, wiggly ankles. All right, come back through. And then step back. Lift your right leg toward the sky. Open up the hip, bend the knee. And then we will flip our dog. Lift your left heel up high, turn your toes to the right, bend your left leg a little bit, bring it over, look at your right hand. And flip back over again. Lunge your right leg forward. One last shoulder opener. Interlace the fingers with the non-dominant grip. Open up the heart. All right, hands to the ground. Step your left leg forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, relax. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, arms to the sides. Excellent. Okay, so from here, let's come down. Actually, let's do a couple of balancing postures, and then we'll come down to the ground. So, balancing posture number one. Let's do warrior three. And this is great because you can use a wall, a chair, blocks, it doesn't matter. So, I mean, you can literally just push against the wall here. So I'm going to use blocks maybe at first. Some of us, if you've got the looser hamstrings, you can put your hands on the ground. You're going to take that left leg up toward the sky, not really too high, roughly parallel to the ground. And you're just trying to get these butt muscles to fire up a little bit. Squeeze the legs into the midline. And again, my left leg has to lift a little higher to get my glute muscles to fire up. Many people feel just fine with their leg at roughly parallel. So find something that works for you. Then pay attention to what's going on with the standing leg. So the standing leg needs to be pretty firm. Knee stretching down, knee lifting up. And then bring your left heel towards your left hip. It's a little bit of a hamstring stretch there. Okay, we're going to add in some core. So bring that left knee up into your chest, left thigh up into the rib cage. And then extend it back behind you again. Now, we're going to bend that knee again. This time you're going to take your knee out to the side and bring your knee towards your armpit. And then try to extend it. Don't forget to breathe. These are big muscles. All right, bring that knee back in. Same basic postures before, heel into the buttocks. Bend your right leg a little bit. Bring your left thigh up into your left rib cage. Point your toes. And then bring the left foot down. Okay, let's stand for just a second. Give ourselves a little break. Big breaths. All right. Let's go for the other side. So, same thing. Hands on the ground, hands on chair, hands on blocks. Take that right leg up, roughly parallel. Left knee presses down, left knee lifts up. Squeeze to the midline. Okay, now bend that knee. Bring your right heel towards your right buttock. Bend your standing leg and bring your right thigh up into your right rib cage. Point the toes if you want. All right, extend back behind you again. Bring that right heel toward the right glute. Point that knee out to the side and bring it towards your right armpit. Extend the right leg. Bring that leg back in. Right heel toward the right glute. Bend your standing leg. Bring the right thigh up into your right rib cage and point the toes. All right, and then bring that foot down, and then inhale, come on up. Whew. Okay, last one. We're gonna do dancer's pose. So you're gonna spread your toes out on your left foot and grab the top of your right foot. And if you need a wall, there's a wall there maybe. Or the left hand to your hip. Stretch your right knee toward the ground. Breathe deeply. All right, grab the foot from the inside. Take your left arm toward the sky. And push that right foot into the right hand. And then let that go. Nice job. All right, spread your toes on your right foot. Come into that right leg. Grab the top of your left foot. Take your right arm toward the sky. Or you can bring it to your hip, or you can take it to something like a wall to help you balance. Grab the inside of your foot, lift your spine, and push your left foot into your left hand. All right, and then let that go. All right, we're coming down to the ground. Take the arms up on the inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step back. Sit on your heels. Spread your toes out first. Get them nice and wide and sit back on your heels. So this is not the easiest posture for everybody. For some people, it's a knee issue. You may need to actually slide a block under your hips just to come up a little higher if it's hard to sit on your heels. Some people feel this in the arches of their feet. So I'm not concerned about that so much unless you have really tight feet. But if you just have, typically tight feet, this is a great stretch for the arches of your feet. So nice deep breathing here. And then we're going to keep those toes nice and spread out. Keep trying to pull your big toe towards your pinky toe and spread your pinky toes out to the sides of your mat. And then this might be enough. So plenty of people are here and thinking, whoa, big. And let me just give you a couple options as well. If you do have grumpy knees, but they're not so grumpy that you have to sit super high in a block, this is a really great way to do this too. You can put a blanket between your legs, right behind your knees. That gives your knees a little bit more space. You still get that nice quadricep stretch and you still get the foot stretch. So try that. See how that feels on your knees. All right, wherever you are, you may want to walk yourself back a little bit, whether you're on feet, block, whatever. And then gently stretch your knees forward. So just actively press them forward. Some people go deeper, right? So you can lift your knees up and get a little bit more foot stretch in there. So my knees are hovering about 4 to 6 inches off the ground right now. I'm still trying to spread my toes out. Okay, we're going to go into a downward dog. Walk it out a little bit. And now we're going to keep the pads of the toes on the ground and bring the knees to the ground. So pads of the toes are on the ground. I'm going to reach down and just see if I can pull my pinky toe forward a little bit more and sit back. So pretty big for most people's toes. A lot of us don't come up onto the balls of our feet like this. So this is a pretty big stretch. Big inhales, big exhales. You can always take breaks, right? So you can always come forward, take a break, come off those feet. Don't torture yourself. It is worthwhile to stay here and breathe through it. But it's also important to understand your boundaries. So same thing here. If it's not enough, you can walk it back a little bit more. Put a little bit more weight into those feet. All right, and then come on back. And you're gonna come forward, smack the tops of your feet into the ground. And then we'll do this again. So spread the toes out nice and wide, toenails on the ground, sit back, use your blanket if you need it. Nice big breathing. Maybe walk it back a little bit more if it seems appropriate. Maybe lift your knees up if it seems appropriate. Keep trying to spread the toes out, whatever you do. All right. Come forward, downward dog. Walk it out. All right, drop your knees. Take a moment and see if you can rearrange your toes a little bit. Pull the pinky toes forward. Big deep breaths, relax your hips down. Maybe walk it back. All right, then come on forward and smack the top of the ground or top of the feet into the ground. All right, next one, let's go for hips. So you're gonna take your left leg under and your right leg over for double pigeon. And some of you have many options here in terms of experimenting and finding the right place for it. So if you're tight in the hips, your knee might pop up a little bit. No big deal. Let it pop up if it wants to. It may be too difficult to get that right ankle on top of that left thigh, and therefore you can put the right foot on a block in front of your left knee. And you can also slide that bottom foot closer to your right hip. So from here, once you're in position, bring your hands to the bottoms of your feet and then maybe do a bit of a forward bend. A lot of people's forward bends are simply sitting up straight. Press out with your big toe ball joint, press in with your hands, so it creates some resistance. I also like to think that I'm wrapping my pinky toes around my thighs, so kind of pull those pinky toes into the midline. All right, and then come on up. And we're going to go into cow face. So see if you can slide your right leg over your left leg so your knees roughly stack up. And then this is possibly where you want your strap. So take that left arm up and over. See if you can get your left arm behind your head. And then lift your chin up and press your arm back into your head. Sorry, the other way. Press your head back into your arm. All right, take that right arm out to the side, thumb down, bring your hand around, and then bring your fist over to the left side. So we're just warming up here, and you can go back to any of these postures if you want to, one arm at a time. So we're trying to get this right shoulder to stretch out a little bit more. This tends to be a tight place for most people. All right, now you can see if you can slide that right hand up the back of your back. So the back of my hand is sliding up and trying to point up toward my head. And if it doesn't go there, that's okay. You've got lots of options. So from here, take your strap, drop it down behind you. See if you can grab your hands behind your back. I'll show you what it looks like. If you try to grab your hands, you can try to grab the strap. If you're here and you're like, ouch, the front of my right shoulder is feeling pinchy, then you're probably not really ready yet for this posture. I mean, just because you can get into the shape doesn't mean the shape is appropriate for you. So if that's the case, I would highly recommend just coming back to fist around to the side of the waist again. It's not even worth it if you feel a pinch in the shoulder because you're not getting the right kind of stretch. So deep breathing, and then again, forward bend for many people is just trying to sit up and get the chest up and get the low back from collapsing. If that's okay, you're doing fine, you can go for a forward bend here. All right, come on out of this one. Let's go for the other side. So you may want to take your legs out and just kind of windshield wiper them from side to side. And let's go for double pigeon on the other side. So the right leg is under, left leg is over. Same thing. This may not look anything like the other side depending on how tight your left hip is. So your left leg may come forward, your right leg may come back. Don't worry about that knee popping up if it is. Press that through the balls of the feet. Try to pull the pinky fingers, pinky toes in like you're trying to grab something. And so I pretend I'm trying to grab and wrap around the knee. And then maybe a bit of a forward bend, whatever that is for you. Keep breathing. All right, come on up and let's go for cow face. So slide that left knee a little bit over. See if you can roughly stack the knees. And then right arm's gonna come up and over. Lift your chin. Let's try it for the other side. Left arm, thumb down, bring the back of the hand around. Grab your hand and pull your hand around. Make a fist on the right side of your waist. All right, maybe do the whole thing. Right arm up and over, maybe with the strap. Grab your hands. Again, if that's not working, get a little bit more stretch in that left shoulder by wrapping your hands around to the right side of your waist. Lift your chin and forward bend, whatever that is for you. This posture always reminds me when it's time to cut my nails. My fingernails, they're too long. And inhale, come on up, and then release. All right, so Baddha Konasana, bottoms of the feet together. Open up the feet like a little book. And then round your back and bring your forehead towards your toes. All right, let's do it with a straight back now. So you may have to come back a little bit closer to your ankles or shins. Pull back so your shoulders draw down and onto your back. And then pull your elbows back, shoulders back, and see if you can get a little bit more forward bend here. It may not be a lot. That's okay. Keep pushing your feet into each other. Keep stretching your knees out to the sides. Reach your heart and chin up. If you go further, that's great. If you don't, it's not a big deal. Don't forget to breathe. I see there's another comment on the chat, so I'll just look real fast. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. All right, now a little bit more inner thighs. So you're gonna come out of this and take your legs out to the side. All right, so the trick with this is a lot of people collapse here. If that's you, if you're collapsing like this, one way to fix that is to put a block behind you and to help push into the block and sit up tall, and that'll give you a nice forward bend. With my really tight hip people, I have them sitting against a wall, and they try to get their backs off the wall. And that may be it right there. So if you're here and you're like, your back is pushing into the wall, your goal is to get your back off the wall. Really great exercise. So if you're at that place where you can at least keep your back off the wall, or you can push into the block behind you, keep lifting your chest. We're going to take the arms, cross your right wrist behind your left wrist, turn the palms of the hands towards each other, bring them together, and then start straightening your arms. What will happen is the arms eventually someday will come behind the head, and then you're going to lift your chin. And then tighten up the tops of your thighs and come into a bit of a forward bend. So I'm not going super far because there's a lot happening here. There's a lot of core strength. I'm lifting my chin and pressing my head into my hands. It's only a little bit of a forward bend, but you can see how the whole entire body is really working here. And yeah, if it seems appropriate, go deeper, but it's pretty big. Keep your chin up. And then come on up and let's go for the other side. So take those arms down, do a couple big shoulder rolls. Let's try it for the other side. Take those arms up. This time cross the left wrist behind the right wrist. Turn the palms of the hands toward each other. Lift your chin. Big breaths, and then forward bend again. Whatever that is. Not much sometimes. Keep breathing. As you go deeper, you start getting a little creeped out, right? Because you're like, oh my gosh, what if I fall? What if I collapse here? So you're trying to find that perfect spot where you don't feel like you're going to lose it, but you feel like you are engaging and keeping your chin up and your core engaged and your hamstrings engaged. And then inhale, come on up. Okay, release those arms, do a couple big shoulder rolls. Now, see if you can just walk your hands forward a little bit. That should be a lot easier. Then lift your chest and chin and see if you can go a little bit further. So maybe forearms to blocks, maybe not. It just kind of depends on you, right? But that was a pretty intense stretch for the hamstrings, so you may go deeper than normal. Big inhales, big exhales. So if your inner thighs are tighter than your outer thighs, which tends to be the case for a lot of people, your feet are going to roll in a little bit. So your challenge here is to keep those kneecaps pointing up. So I have to kind of get more of an external rotation in my thighs here as I go forward. If you're pretty tight through your outer hips and through your low back, then what happens is your toes roll back. You get more of an external rotation in your legs because everything's so tight in that low back area. So those are the two major things that happen with people. Nobody escapes. Keep breathing. Keep tightening up the tops of the thighs. Find your spot. Breathe into it and just keep breathing into it. Okay, go ahead and slowly come on up, and now you're going to bring the bottoms of your feet together one more time. Forward bend again. And now you're going to grab your big toes. So grab your big toes. This is called Uttanasana Konasana. Come back. So I'll change my angle so you can see what's going on. My feet are off the floor. Not by much, like maybe 2 or 3 inches. So I'm grabbing my big toes with my first 2 fingers and then maybe extending a little bit. Legs might be straight or bent, doesn't matter. What's more important is the back. Pull those arm bones into the shoulder sockets, lift your chest. Now see if you can hold it by just letting your legs go. All right, relax. Do a little walking forward, forward bend, nothing special. Just have to relax the back. Okay, now we're gonna go into Purvottanasana. So this is eastward looking pose. You're gonna take your legs forward. Turn your fingers forward. So your first fingers are gonna line up with the outside of your hips. Roll the shoulders onto your back and press down. Pay attention to where your weight is, right? You want your weight into your inner hands as well as your outer hands. Lift your chin. Lift your chest. And then we're gonna come up a little bit higher. So some people just do the full-blown lifting the hips up, and you can play with that for sure. But if you'd like to do something that's a little bit more restrained, a little bit more simple, walk your feet in about halfway and then push into your inner heels and lift your hips that way. All right, come on down. Take a moment, walk your hands, cross your ankles comfortably, and then walk your hands forward again. All right, let's do it one more time. Hands back behind you, first fingers lining up with the outside of your hips. Roll your shoulders onto your back and lift your chest. Actively lifting your chest up into the sky as you press down into the inner hands. And then again, you can come into a full-blown eastward looking pose, Purvottanasana, or if you want to make this just a tiny bit easier, walk it in halfway. They're both great. All right, cross the other ankle in front, just a comfortable sit, and then walk it forward again. All right, and then let's come onto our bellies, and we're gonna try for a little back bend here. So, left forearm on the ground, bend your right knee, reach back, grab the top of your right foot, and press your right heel in the direction of your right hip. Stretch your right knee toward the ground or toward the bottom of your mat. Zip up your belly. Roll that right shoulder onto your back. Now we're going to go a little bit deeper, but we're going to switch sides first. So we're going to hang out here for a bit. Right forearm to the ground, left hand to the left foot. Press your left heel in towards your left hip. Stretch your left knee toward the ground or toward the bottom of your mat. Zip up your belly, see if you can pull it off the ground. And breathe and smile. All right, we're gonna do this again, slightly different variation. So what we'll do is we'll slowly walk up with the left hand and we're gonna try to push the right foot away from us. So start simple. You're gonna start on your belly, but this left hand is gonna start walking back. Bend your right knee. This time you're gonna push the right foot away from you. So it's kind of like we're going into bow. And then left hand's gonna slide back about 6 inches and it's gonna push into the ground. So my belly is off the ground now. I'm pushing my right foot into my right hand, which is pulling me into a bit of a back bend. And then you decide, do I want to bring my hand back a little bit more and see if I can get onto my pubic bone more or pelvis more? So it's just creating more of a back bend as appropriate, pushing my foot away. Zipping my belly up. Make sure my left leg is nice and straight too. And then get a little bit of a bend in your right elbow, even though the right foot is pushing against the hand. All right, and then come on down. Take a breather. Even if you don't think you need it, take a breather. This is where English and Sanskrit don't translate. Like prana is breath or life force. And I really want to be able to say like, take a pranamasana, like take a breather. All right, but it doesn't quite work that way. All right, so right hand to the ground, push that left foot away. And then if you're like, yeah, that'll work, let's walk back a little bit. So belly off the ground, extending through the right leg. Left foot is getting pressed back into the left hand, which is pulling my left shoulder onto my back more. If I want to go a little deeper, I'm just going to play with that. Big breathing. Get a little bitty bend in that left elbow. All right, and then let that go. Again, take a breather. Turn your head to one side, relax. Big breaths. Okay, we're going to do a full Danyarasana, back bend. And we're going to try to roll over onto one side and then the other. So, grab your feet or your ankles. Press the feet into the hands. Zip up the belly. And then relax the left side a little bit and push further with that right leg. That should roll you over onto your left side. Then try to touch your toes. Keep your head off the ground and look toward the ceiling. All right, come back to the center. And let's go for the other side. So relax the right side a little bit and push to the left side. And then look over the left shoulder. Again, head is not on the ground. And come on out of that one. All right. And then take a moment, forehead on the ground. Roll your shoulders onto your back. So your nose and forehead touch the ground. Go ahead and walk your legs in a little bit. They're not touching, they're just a little closer. All right. From here, back of the head, hands come to the back of the head. You're going to lift the elbows up and push your head up into your hands. You're going to lift your legs. This is Makrasana. All right, the next thing you want to do, lift those elbows up, keep pressing the head up into the hands. Once you're as high as you think you can get, squeeze your legs together. And then release, make a little pillow, turn your head to one side. All right, and then child's pose. Press forward into the mat so your hips get close to your heels. And then pull on the mat so that your rib cage comes towards your armpits. And then relax. Okay, so from here, let's do one more little thing for core and for hips, and then we will lie down and relax. Okay, so from here, bring your knees into your chest for a moment. Rock from side to side. Take your legs up. So this is super subtle. This is just a little bit of lifting, and we're talking an inch here. So take your hands behind your head. And you're going to lift your shoulders off the ground and lift your chin up towards your feet. So you're not coming toward your legs. Just lift up toward the feet. Nice deep breaths. Use your hands as a hammock for your head so your neck doesn't stress out. Keep breathing. And then lift your heels up. So essentially, your tailbone is coming off the ground a little bit. Super subtle, but this is where we want to hang out for a bit. Now keep hanging on to the back of your head and reach your left arm, your left fingers to the outside of your right foot. Right foot is also lifting. It's lifting away from the hand. All right, bring the left hand to the back of the head so it can support your head and your neck isn't straining. Press your head back in your hand as you lift your hand up, and then take your right arm towards your left toes, left pinky toe. Big breaths. All right, bring the head down, take the arms out to the sides. You're going to lower your left leg about 45 degrees. And then you're going to look toward your right hand and reach your left hand up towards your right pinky toe again. And then come on down. Left leg comes back up. Right leg goes to about 45 degrees. You're going to look at your left hand and lift your right hand up towards your left foot. And then come on down. And then feet down, knees drop in toward each other. Take a moment here. All right, last one. Bring your right knee up into your chest, give yourself a little squeeze. Extend your left leg. Take your right arm out to the side and look over your right shoulder and bring your right leg across the body to the left. All right, and then unwind. Let's go for the other side. Bring that left leg into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And then take your left arm out to the side, look over your left shoulder, and bring your left leg across the body to the right. All right, and then unwind. And this is your time for relaxation. So I will show you with this bolster how many lovely ways. We often do this with blocks, right? You get the bolster right up against your butt. And you get this nice back bend here, really just full-blown relaxation. You can also go legs up against the wall instead of a block. So this does require coming in from the side. So you walk up the wall, get your hips on the bolster, hang out here. This is another variation. There's so many. And just slow down your breath. And start wiggling your fingers and toes. Roll your wrists and ankles in small circles. And if your bolster is under your hips, you may want to remove it. If it's under your back, you may want to keep it there for the time being. Take a big inhale and stretch out your body. And exhale, relax. And when you're ready, you may want to roll over onto that right side. And then slowly push yourself up. Come to a comfortable seated posture. Bring your hands into your heart center. And just take a moment and check in, see how everything feels. This is the season of hope, manifesting hope. Recognizing that the days are still getting shorter until the solstice on the 21st, which is 2 weeks from now. So finding those ways to create warmth and light in your household from within. Bring your hands up to your forehead for kind thoughts, down to your lips for kind words, and down to your heart center for kind intentions. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.